Good morning, Star Wars fanatics, and to all my American colleagues, happy Thanksgiving. If you don't live in the United States and you don't understand what Thanksgiving is, just Google it. I don't want to take a lot of time explaining it, and I'm already bored talking about it. So, let's get on with some Star Wars content, shall we? Today I have a few topics I'd like to talk about, nothing in particular, just rambling a little bit like I did a couple weeks ago or a week ago or something like that. So sit back, relax, let's tell some jokes and talk about Star Wars together. And before I get started, if you are new here, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button and turn on your notifications. Stay up to date on all my Star Wars content, including the Book of Boba Fett, The Mandalorian, and whatever else you can think of. Except Ewoks. I don't talk about Ewoks. But let's go ahead and move along, shall we? The first thing I'd like to talk about is, of course, the Book of Boba Fett. That's the newest series getting ready to come out next month on December 29th. That's what's fresh in our minds. That's what everybody's looking forward to at this moment until the Kenobi series comes out, or the Bad Batch, or whatever your favorite is. The Book of Boba Fett is coming first. Everybody wants to talk about it. And everybody has their own theories on it, whether Boba Fett's going to be this badass crime lord, or whether he's going to go full-on barbarian. I know that was in an interview or something. Or whether he's going to become a great Mandalorian like he did in Legends. Everybody has a theory. Some people just despise Boba Fett and have their theories he's just going to die in the first episode or something. It's ridiculous. But this first bit is my take on what should happen in the Book of Boba Fett. Maybe not in the first season, or if they do create more seasons, it should happen further down the line. The biggest thing that needs to happen, and one of my viewers named BlazeCap brought this up quite a few times, and I have to agree with him. One thing that has to happen is Boba Fett's legacy has to carry on. The clan Fett has to keep moving forward. If not, it'll die out, and there was no real reason for Boba Fett to even exist. Yes, I know, even though he only had 8 minutes of screen time in the original trilogy, Boba Fett did have some pivotal roles in that and some accidental things that made the rest of the trilogy go through. But I'm talking about, as far as Jango Fett's concerned, there would have been no reason to create Boba Fett if his legacy didn't continue. And for those of you that think Boba Fett's just being brought back so he can be killed off finally and forever, solidifying it, I don't think that's the case. If that were the case, they would have left him dead in the Sarlacc and not brought him back at all. We already thought he was dead. So to me, that means there is so much more to Boba Fett's story than just him becoming a crime lord. We could have just left him dead and nothing else come of it, and we wouldn't have ruined the reputation of Boba Fett. So now, if he only becomes a crime lord, that's going to ruin his reputation. I believe it's going to be a transition. That crime lord thing is just going to be a transition, and him learning how to be a proper leader. But not just a proper leader, a legacy. He has to have a legacy to leave behind in order for Jaster Muriel, Jango Fett, and Boba Fett to all have been meaningful characters. And not just to be meaningful characters, because that tells that every side character of Star Wars needs to be meaningful. But like I said before, they brought him back from the dead for a reason. And it's not to be some crime boss in a crime syndicate that Jabba the Hutt once ruled, that Bib Fortuna took over, and they could have just left it at that. It's setting up for a much bigger story, and that bigger story is not just Boba Fett, but his family, his actual heirs. And if you read the Legends novels and all that about Boba Fett, then you'd know he had a wife, Sentos Vel, and they had a daughter, Aelin Vel, and these characters will be coming prominent. Now, a lot of people are going to hate me for this, and I understand that a lot of people hate Boba Fett. They hate that he's back. They hate he survived the Sarlacc pit and all that. Well, I'm sorry, but he did, okay? So you're going to have to get over it and just move on. Because Boba Fett's back, baby, and he is gonna kick ass. And his story is gonna kick ass. But we know that Lucasfilm has been trying to move away from the Imperial era. Even though it seems like all these shows are coming out about the Imperial era, they're moving on to something else. They're not gonna stick with this timeline. They're working on the High Republic, which this stuff doesn't really tie into. But there's gonna be something afterward. Something not related to the sequel. Sure, you might see bits and pieces of the First Order or its rise or something like that, but it's not going to be the main focus. Mandalorians are going to be huge, and they're going to move away from the Imperial era to show how Mandalorians are growing or dividing and conquering again. And it's all going to start with Boba Fett and Din Djarin, and it'll move into their descendants. It's going to be a much larger story, a much bigger timeline than what we're used to. Read the legend stories, or if you don't want to do that, go into Wikipedia and read about Boba Fett's legacy. Now you can whine and cry and say, Boba Fett's not a Mandalorian. Well, you can say that all you want, and that's fine, because he hasn't came out and said he is a Mandalorian, but he hasn't came out and said he isn't a Mandalorian. But as of right now, I don't think he identifies as a Mandalorian, but he understands his heritage and where his father came from, and his father's father and his father's mentor. He's in kind of a state of denial right now and trying to find himself. And the only thing he's done since he was on his own from his father is criminal type activity. Not so much criminal, but bounty hunting and working with criminal element. But now he's going to find it's a much different job being in charge of these thugs rather than being one of the thugs. Being the one to control it all rather than being one only accountable for himself. Now he's going to be accountable for a whole climate of thugs. And if we know anything about the criminal syndicates, there's always somebody vying for the power. And it's not just one person that's vying for the power, it's all of them. Everybody wants that power. And if Boba Fett shows any sign of weakness, as in, I'm going to lead with respect, then that's going to open the vacuum. He's going to need help. And not just help from anybody. I'm not talking about Bosk or 4LOM or Dengar or any of them. They're not trustworthy. I'm talking about he's going to need help from the likes of Cobb Vanth or Miggs Mayfeld and even Din Djarin, or even probably, possibly, maybe Bo-Katan, Kreese. People that work off of a certain moral code or a creed that entitles them to help others wearing Mandalorian armor. So what I'm saying is, don't get caught up in trailers and synopsis and interviews and all that stuff, because it's misleading. It's meant to mislead you. If Boba Fett was going to be this criminal thug, it's not a worthwhile reason to bring him back from the Sarlacc pit. They should have just left him dead. It's going to be something much more than that. And he's going to tie into the greater universe and the greater Mandalorian plot that's about to unfold in all of the series coming out. If you remember, when The Mandalorian first came out, the synopsis for that, the trailer for it, everything said he's a lone bounty hunter, a gunman, and all this stuff, which was true in the beginning. But it evolved. It changed. He became a father. He became this moral guy who just wanted to protect his child. And all the while, he's trying to walk the way of the Mandalore. So is there a reason to be hyped for the Book of Boba Fett? You betcha. It's going to be amazing. There's going to be so much more than what we're being led to believe. Just trust me on this, please. My theories may not all be correct, but I guarantee some of them are. And this one will be. He's not just going to be a criminal boss. And it's going to move on for decades later, not just with Boba Fett, but moving on to the Vels and the Skaratas and the Kreeses and the Djarins, and all these other clans are going to start coming together, Clan Mudhorn even. So for those of you hating on Boba Fett right now, just stop. Give it a moment. You're going to like it. There are already a lot of people who have turned, who have said they hated Boba Fett from the originals and all that stuff, but now they like him because they saw what he did in The Mandalorian. Well, wait till you see what he's going to do in the Book of Boba Fett. It's going to be awesome. And wait till you see what Ailyn Vel's going to do when she comes around. And I do believe she's going to come around, as do a lot of my viewers. Guys, I know you're going to say something in the comments about it, so please feel free. And please speak freely. But I really want to know what you guys think in the comments. Please leave a comment. Please, and I will engage with you. Today is Thanksgiving, so it might take me a few minutes to get back with you, but I promise I will. But if you are new to my channel, please hit that subscribe button, turn on your notifications, and stay up to date on all my Book of Boba Fett, Mandalorian, Star Wars lore, theories, discussions, and once I hit 5,000 subscribers, I'm going to be releasing an hour-long video the finale of my Jango Fett fanfiction that's based on Open Seasons and the Bounty Hunter video game from way back in the day. So you're not going to want to miss that. The quicker I get to 5,000, the quicker I can get that video out. And also, don't forget to hit the thumbs up on the video to show your love and support for what I do here and the hard work I put into every video. And if you don't like it, push the thumbs down. Let me know that and leave a comment. And remember, this is the way, the only way.